Distinguished Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters. Was that a really awkward 15 seconds? Over the last 15 seconds, 4 emergencies have happened. Could be a flood. Somebody could have lost their house to a fire. Could have been a heart attack, a stroke. Somebody just found out they had cancer. Somebody lost a relative. Somebody lost their job. How do we help in an emergency? We be prepared. If you're prepared, it gives a little bit of calm to the chaos. In December, there was an active shooter at UNLV, and my son and my nephew were students there. Had it gone a little differently, I felt like I was not prepared. What did I do? I joined CERT, which is the Community Emergency Response Team. I went into leadership and I learned in emergency management, leadership is fluid. When you're deployed to an emergency, the first person to arrive is the leader. Everyone else is a member and they help the leader. I decided to do classes and I taught a 5-series class. One thing I had to do when I was leading in this organization is there's employees and there are volunteers. What's the difference? Employees usually get paid for motivation. Volunteers, you really have to stay plugged in and find out what is motivating them to be there. Are they wanting to be part of something bigger than themselves? Do they just get fulfilled by helping and being a part of your organization? And the caveat with volunteers is it can change from day to day. It can change from job to job. You have to be constantly plugged in, asking what is motivating them so you can motivate them to keep doing what they're doing and doing it well. When I started teaching my classes, again, I have these 5-series classes that I teach. First class is preparedness. Second is home hazards. Third, I know what this is. Sorry, evacuations. Fourth is fire safety and pet preparedness. And 5 is response and recovery. I thought I had to be knowledgeable about everything. But in one of my classes, there was a 30-year firefighter captain that was retired. And I was giving a speech and a class on fire preparedness. I could either preach what I knew about fire preparedness, or I can engage this person to give us his experiences in the real world and real world advice. I chose to get the real world advice, and we learned a lot that day, and it made the experience a lot richer. And he felt like he could contribute to our organization. He's going to go on to become a teacher as well, just because that I brought that out in him. That's something that Toastmasters International says that we need to do, is we need to elevate members to become leaders. If you have only people who are members and you don't have any leaders, you don't have anybody steering the ship. And if everybody's a leader and nobody's a member, there's nobody really doing the work. You have to be balanced. So you have to keep bringing people in, training them to become leaders, bringing more people in, and there has to be a cycle and a flow to make this work. And one of the ways that you can elevate your members is to really be paying attention to who's a potential leader. I had a class where we have to fill an hour's worth of time and we're given certain information and certain slides, and we have to interject our stories or our experiences. My class went really fast and I had 20 minutes left. I look at this guy who's 35 years in his CERT. I noticed he had his go bag on him, or his deployment bag. Hey, why don't you come over and show what's in your deployment bag? And we got he showed his radio, that the hand crank. Everybody ended up buying one because they're like, "God, that's amazing for $6 that you got that." Had I not done that, he wouldn't have come up and felt like he contributed to our class. I just recognized that about him and I was really proud of myself. I learned to remember everybody's names. It's hard, and it's hard to remember all that. But when I would come back the next time and I would say, "Hey, John, that class you told me about, I watched the show, I watched the series, and you gave such great information on Narcan. I really valued that. Thank you for sharing that." And again, it's just an exchange. We are trying to educate our community on emergencies. And I did that, and I connected with my audience. I have the QR code for CERT if you'd like to know anything more about CERT today. I would encourage you to learn more about community emergency response, but more importantly, make a difference today. Get involved in your community and volunteer in something that you're passionate about. Thank you very much.